small round of intentions and distractions. You want to start, Septimus?
Yeah. Intentions for the call, catch up and see what's everything that's going on with the future stakeholders and everything that's going on with the and updates, and still doing the recordings, and no distractions. I'll pass it to Tam.
Did you say Dan or Tam?
I have no idea as well.
I say Tam.
Okay, cool. My intentions are to see how we are doing in onboarding and what to do next. Maybe also some updates from over the end of December. I have 0 distractions. I'm super present and excited to be here. And I will pass to Dan.
Hey, no, I'm just distracted by some group that I think Griff at me, but I was reading it and it's interesting. Anyway, and I wanted to catch up and update Eduardo on a conversation I had with Jonas and some cool stuff there. I can do that off async as well. I'll pass to to Jake. Go, Jake.
Hi, everybody. Happy New Year. Intentions? Yeah, pretty much. Jessica and Livia, we are in the disco group. I'm at Blair. So that's going well. Distractions? My son is outside climbing around the rental car, and I hope he doesn't figure out how the parking brake works. Other than that, everything's good. I'm going to pass over to Jessica.
Oh, hello. Happy New Year. Good morning. Intentions, the usual. Figure out where we're at, where we'd like to go, and get some alignment. And then distractions. My interwebs on my laptop is a bit wonky, but the phone here seems to be working. Otherwise, ready to roll. Mr. Eduardo, did you go? I missed whoever went.
No, I haven't gone yet. My intention for this call is to update everyone in the onboarding working group and to see how's everyone doing. There is no distraction right now, so I will pass it to Libby. Libby got frozen. So Griff, can you go?
As a matter of fact, I can. My intentions are to talk about Hatcher onboarding and progress there, as well as and strategies or how we're organizing. And then that's probably all my distractions. My intentions are to mostly have a great call. Or sorry, my distractions are my internet is like being weird today. As the internet guy came and I had to he was going to leave with me with crappy internet. And now he's gone and I'm a little scared. I'm just a little scared of my internet. But other than that, I'm here. And I'll pass it to Livia if she's back. Nope. Okay, Eduardo, all you.
All right.
Or did Dan?
Yeah. All right. I think to update on the last thing we did regarding the onboarding working group, we had a call with Jake, Griff, and Ham regarding how to onboard the hatchers, and we had a list of people came out from Griff to basically onboard these people. As we had 2 groups. We had basically an audience 1 and audience 2. The audience 1s were the big CS stack holders that were deep already in knowledge about the DEC, and then we have audience 2, which is the friendly big CS stack holders that they already know more or less what is DEC. So we have those lists of people, and what we aim to after the call was to basically get some soft commitments out of them, some rough numbers to know more or less how much will they want to contribute and so on. So we have a document that we may share eventually. I mean, that we can share with you guys, which is basically the structure of the outreach, of like a small script of how to approach people. And following that script with Griff, we had a call. What was his name, Griff? Luke. It was Luke, right? Yeah. So we had a call with Luke, and we basically went through, and he makes some points and so on, and I have notes from the meetings also noted. And then the second soft commitment is to basically be part of the legal association, which is the other thing that needs to be told to everyone who is getting on board as a hatcher. So that's basically regarding that matter. On the hatcher sort of updates. I don't know, Griff, if you have reached any or someone else, and how did that go?
Yeah, we got soft commitments from Niran and Luke and
Phil.
Phil. Thank you. And we have another call with Jake today, and then I will have at least had one call with Jake and Jay. And then we'll have had one call with everyone who is working over the break to do some hatcher onboarding so that they will be trained up. I wouldn't mind doing 2 calls with everyone. And then before we reach out and start like reaching out to the hatchers on the individual basis. But I think hopefully that should happen by the end of this week or early next week. And then anyone who's been on a practice pitch or 2, then they start taking on people as well.
Just a question and a couple notes. A question is, where is this being tracked so that we don't double contact people until there's
just on that first point, there is a onboarding hatcher strategy planning document that we're tracking it just for like the first initial ones, and then we'll do all the tracking on the curate, and we're tracking the soft commitments in the trusted seed, like the application sheet, basically, the spreadsheet.
I shared to you the document, Jessica.
Okay. So we're kind of identifying that there's a stream for individuals, and then there's a stream. I didn't know if there was an agenda for this meeting somewhere. I'm looking for the notes. No, okay, no, there's not an agenda. Okay, sorry. I'm just asking if we at some point can go over the curate sheet together. I know we've got a lot of time. I'm just bringing it up, and then also with the reach outs as well, just what are you asking them to do? Like for now is soft commit, and then you're telling them the launch date is March 12, and then we're going to contact them back, or like what are you telling them that the next steps are, and what are we telling them that we are going to do that we're promising, so that we can make sure that we, fulfill those promises, and that we are also like making sure to follow up, and that we don't have like this huge 2-month gap between when we talk to them, they're excited, and then what are we actually asking them to do, like what's the journey, what's the call to action, so that I can on the comm side start to understand like what you are initiating as the flow, so that I can pick that up, and like when the communications part comes, that we are emailing everyone and doing the mass campaigns of like, hey, we talked to you, now's the time, and here's how you do 1, 2, 3.
Basically, in the document that I just shared to you, there is a basic script that explains basically the structure of the outreach. As a summary, we are asking, as far as I recall, Griff can correct me, 2 soft commitments. The first one is the amount, and the second one is the legal commitment, soft commitment to be part of the association. we leave these two at the bottom of the conversation, so it doesn't look like we are hunting them down. At least that's the script that we sort of follow. It's basically it's an outreach or it's an approach to hatchers that it's based on we are here to explain to you what we basically are, what we're working now. We are open and honest regarding the timings that they may change. And if you have any doubts, any insecurities, any whatever you have, you can express it and we try to clarify for you. Which was basically also what happened with Luke. That he has some doubts and it was nice back and forth. So but we are basically asking for those two commitments. I don't know if Griff wants to add something else to this.
Yeah, the next step is, oh yeah, we have this really cool DApp that you can join our Swiss membership association with, and I will reach out to you when it's ready. And everything Eduardo said.
Okay, and again, just like I see the value in like doing this close contacts and that we have, and I appreciate like that there are so many people before the hatch, and I do see the value in this like approach of engagement. But I guess I'm kind of also asking in this meeting that we can address onboarding comms specifically. And I know it's early, but I would like to get a jump on like part of what's happening in the comm side is I talked to Craig and Dan are going to support in setting up the CRM to be able to send emails to all of the members, which sounds easy, but there are some like legal things we have to double check. And I think Griff, they're going to be contacting you, but like basically they're going to help me work on getting the back end set up, because like I just want to kind of get, and maybe in the next comms meeting we can cover this, but like I want to just get a bit of an understanding about how we want to approach and when to start to do the mass communications and the campaigns, like sending emails, and like maybe, yeah, we have to have some more content pieces that are on the roadmap as well. But I'm just putting that out. We don't have to address it now, but like these are just things coming to me, and I'll put them in the notes of like starting to look at the strategy around the onboarding comms and like the timing of it. And making sure that that's in alignment and in flow with this like individual reach outs and like the calls to action with those as well. Because also like
I think the big obvious blocker is that we don't have the C-Stack DApp ready, the Swiss membership DApp. Hopefully in the next couple of weeks, but that's a huge blocker. So until that's ready, I don't think it's worth trying to do any kind of mass things, because it's like, hey everyone, we're going to do it. It's the announcement and of an announcement approach, which works if you have a token, but right now we don't. So once we have the membership DApp going, then I think we can. I bet there's probably another blocker or two in there too, but that's the obvious one. So I would say 2 weeks minimum, probably more.
Trying to keep going with the structure. Griff, is there any from these three? Because on the document it only shows 3 people self-commitment, but out of the 5, sort of you mentioned, I think 5 people. Is there anything else relevant to add it to the document that we have? Like, was there mentioned any doubt, anything else that we needed to take in consideration, or anything that was pointed out?
Maybe Tamara or who's the other person that came with me?
I add something to that actually. One of the things that we're asking all of the hatchers is, you know, we're looking for people in the community who have aligned values and will be meaningful hatchers and valuable hatchers, meaning they'll participate, they have aligned incentives, they believe in common goods and in token engineering projects. So we're asking the hatchers that we're approaching to recommend, if they have any recommendations for other people or projects that we should approach. So we're also tracking the recommendations that might not have already been on our radar.
And those are going onto the curate sheet, like people who are suggesting organizations are, okay, cool.
No, I had the same question. Where do you have these recommendations now?
Right now they're in the Google Doc.
all this should be in that TEC Curate spreadsheet, and it will happen shortly, I hope, this sprint.
All right. Okay. So we have how many calls do we have scheduled for the next calls? Script, do you need help with any of these calls regarding distributing them?
I have Jay today. I'm very disappointed in how many reach outs I was able to do, but so I don't have that many scheduled. I can check. I think I have a couple next week. Like I think I have Zargum next week, and I have I'm sure I have another one or two. I have Simon next week, and I think I could add someone to that one. It's a good Europe time if you want to jump in for that one, Eduardo or Tam. Yeah, Tamara's already done two, so she's good to go.
Okay. Does anyone here, for example, fucking Livy or Jessica, knows any one else from this list that we can work on a soft commitment from them?
I really want to put like a let's let me do the first ones. At least most of these guys that I have on this list are like my friends, and they would be kind of weird without me there. And it would be really weird if like Livia reached out to someone she didn't know and be like, "Hey, Griff wants to have a call with you." And it'd just be like an awkward social thing. But it doesn't have to be. So like I feel like Tamara has done two, so she could start reaching out to some people if she wanted to. Although she has a lot on her plate this sprint. Eduardo, if we do Simon on Monday, then I would say you're free to like start going, and then develop off of that. And then Jake has we have Jay today and another one scheduled with him, and then we'll have like 4 people that have done 2 pitches, and then we can start, exponentially, virally building the one-on-one Hatcher team and connecting on these scripts.
Yeah, I think from just to finish, I think this is part of the conversation. From Luke conversation, the thing that I don't know if with the rest was the same time. You can tell me about it, but like we look specifically the legal section was the one that was the trickiest one. I felt because he was very clear about these processes. He was like his questions were very precise. He was not like, oh, just wandering around, just no. He knew and he wanted to be clear in certain aspects. I don't know if that happened to you, Tom, also, but like for me, that's something that we should like run through it between ourselves, so we don't get caught in different versions of the whatever legal aspect that it's. All right, so finishing that part, is there something else the Hatcher section that we need to talk? Jessica, you had more questions if I was wrong?
No, I was just trying to access the sheet you sent me. Onboarding Hatcher strategy planning. Is that the document that you sent me?
Yes, I changed the
okay,
access.
Okay, cool. Yeah, I was just gonna. Okay, I'll review this and let you know if I have any feedback. But I just wanted to understand what was the call to action so that when we do start doing the more like campaigning. But I guess the other just the identifying the blockers, I think, and being aware of how that will impact the flow and like the vote is obviously going on right now, which we said we were going to announce tomorrow in the community call about the legal, and then over the weekend people will vote, and then I'll be writing a piece about that. And then Eduardo, I will share with you, and if we have any sessions this week, I can walk you through. We can talk deeper about content like kind of async, I guess, not in this meeting, about what content pieces are going to be developed and how that fits into like the onboarding flow, and just like be keeping in touch about that. But yeah, I think for this sprint, it's not that important. So just flagging it, but that will be in the coming weeks once like the vote is finished and this DAP is ready and the common sec stuff gets unblocked.
All right. Yeah, we can do it async. Yes, Dan?
Oh, something quick. In the TC curate, basically, I send the team like this status. So you outreach somebody thinking about like updating that status is something that will be helpful on the way when we actually had a CRM, just to understand like what people actually know and what stage they are at. So just to help a little bit with comms later on. So it's just a little thing, but yeah, and use the comment section just in case. If anything, the document you were mentioning, people mentioning other people and the script, I have no idea where that is. I'm just curious, but otherwise that was my own.
Yeah, I was also
Also,
sorry, is that document that document is closed from what I understood, and then at some point it will be in this list?
I just opened the document for the matter call. I just changed the access so it's public. I will send it to you, Libby, in a moment. Also, there's a document.
Sorry, just to jump in. It was originally sort of accessible to all, and then as we started putting people's, hatchers' names, I kind of thought, oh, maybe we should just, and like, the results of the meetings, I thought, well, maybe we should just restrict it to the people who are participating. I guess we could leave it open, and we just don't put anything too sensitive in there. Anything sensitive should be put somewhere else, so we can leave it open. That's cool.
I think the list of names is fine. The script is so critical, and it's an evolving document. So I think keeping it open makes sense.
Yes, Jessica?
I was just going to ask too, have the membership dues for the association been finalized, and what are you telling people as well about that?
They have been finalized. They're $450 with scholarships being liberally dished out. So it's 450 DAI is the minimum, and anyone who wants a scholarship, as long as they are not some random like internet troll, they'll get it.
Okay. Also, there is a document on the TEC Curate Excel that it says hatch proposal onboarding frequent asked questions. It's in the top of the Excel sheet, and I think Tam and Griff, you that have been in and I were in this call, or Jake that will be on a call later today. If we can fill this with questions that we consider, or I will add the legal one, for example, and so on, questions that will probably be asked often, so we have a common dialogue in what people is asking, and when we notice something that is commonly, or someone insisting on something, for example, what Jessica just mentioned about association fee and so on, so we can have this document there and to easy access for the rest of the people who will be accessing the document later.
Awesome idea. I'm looking at that, and it's, I believe, for proposals. Perhaps it makes sense to have the proposal onboarding document separate from the hatch onboarding document, to have two documents, and maybe link the other one in the other tab on the Excel spreadsheet.
Agree. Okay, so that's it with the hatcher status. Regarding
one more question.
Yes.
Sorry. Have you defined any KPIs or goals for all of this outreach? I think it could be good to have a target. I think we have some guidance from the IH debt tracking of what our goal is looking like, like 500K minimum. So I think having a goal either raise wise, which will help us to define that parameter as the minimum raise. And secondly, having a goal maybe for number of people contacted is always good for these kind of efforts. I think especially from the raise side, in order to start understanding and fleshing out the minimum raise. What do you
Sorry.
think?
I have nothing to say in respect, but I believe it's a good tool.
I feel like Griff and Jake probably have the most insight, so I don't know if you guys want to think about having some goals or targets.
Yeah, as far as number of people, I'm open to making a target. I don't have any ideas on that off the top of my head, but for sure the goal is to make sure every person we ask the soft commitment from, so that we can determine that number. I don't know how easy it is to have a goal per se, because the soft commitments will help us determine the goal. So I guess the real goal is don't let anyone off the phone until they've given you a soft commitment.
Okay, cool. Yeah, I guess it's a bit chicken and egg, because the soft commits will help us to determine like how close we are to meeting the IH debt. If anyone's not aware of what that is, for me, when you showed that to us, Griff, I was like, oh, I didn't even know we had like a kind of metrics or like a guide for what we're trying to meet. So I think that information is for anyone, like gives that extra fire to get those.
All right. Following this, there's a small thing regarding the proposals. We also need to talk about other stuff, but regarding the proposals, I had these small questions to Tam, and then I just ask again to Griff. Just checking. When someone makes a proposal, no one's run through it, reviewing it, or legal reviews. Is there something possible or not on that? Like, is there any, just out of curiosity? This is nothing important, but just to be clear on that. Does legal checks proposals or backgrounds or anything?
No, I believe the strategy. I mean, this is always the big thing. Is like, oh yeah, we're gonna build this together, right? And the exact details. It's like if we say something now, guess what? Like we're gonna have a decision process, and it will decide the details. But right now, the informal plan is that Gravity Group will have a multi-sig that can remove proposals on conviction voting if they do not follow the terms of service that are presented on conviction voting. So if they're trying to do something illegal, violent, or there will be terms of service, and we need to determine what those are. And then there will be a multi-sig that has the power to remove them. And one day we will replace the multi-sig probably with this Aragon Court Celeste thing. But either way, it'd be the same process. Here's the terms of service. Does this break those terms of service? But we have to write those terms of service. And also that idea of that gravity multisig would have to be voted on by the DAO, which doesn't exist yet, of people who put money into the token, the hatch. So it's like, whoa, yeah, there's a lot of dependencies there to make any promises.
Okay, just checking because I had that question on my mind for a bit. Then moving on with the proposal section, I wanted to check on the proposals that were due to happen for after holidays and stuff. If I'm not wrong, you can correct me. Angela was reached out again, Livy. Like, did she mention anything, or that hasn't happened?
Just talk to her.
Yeah, so are you jumping in now to the curate sheet to go over together and update everything?
Yes.
Okay, and then I just have a question for you, Leda. So yeah, I can update for my part. Dan and I had a call. I had already been talking to Leap DAO some time ago, so I followed up with them, and I'm gonna pass them to Dan, but they are going to prepare a proposal. They're a really cool project. They're basically building a layer 2 governance platform called Habitat. And blah blah blah. They actually want some feedback from some token engineers on a couple of different things, but they're basically going to scale what OneHive has done with conviction voting that anyone can plug into. It's pretty cool. So they're going to submit a proposal, and I handing that off to Dan. Oops. As far as Angela goes, sorry, Angela, I talked to in December. She said she is going to submit a proposal by in the next couple of weeks. She's kind of getting reorganized and thinking about because she's had so much explosive growth, she wants to think about what she wants to ask for the community. I'm just scrolling down here. Livia, did you get a chance to reach back out to Spirit Foundation? I'm just going.
Yeah,
through
I
the
had a
ones
call
that I
with
had
him.
touched.
Yeah, I had a call with Alex today, and we basically did a refinement of the scope, because I think for projects that are almost kind of ready, I think he had the idea that he could propose something to help his project on the next phase type of thing, but then we brought back into like, how can this be useful to the TE community? So it's really cool that they're working on modules, and models, simulation models. I think he's working with Sean. So we got into that he's going to make a proposal for those models that they have almost ready to feed back to the community, and other people can use that for similar use cases. And because it was kind of this process of like refining, he didn't have it ready to propose in that moment. So he said he's going to do it with YGG over this week.
Thank you, Livy. By the way, Jake, did you hear anything back from all the people you tried to contact? At the end, no one replied at the end.
Well, it was just disco. And this morning I got invited into the Telegram new channel with the TEC. Woohoo! Anyways, Jessica and Livia have already kind of made some ground there. There's definitely more to do. But I mean, I think that's going to be really smooth. So maybe I should get thrown at something else.
Yeah, we have to set up a call. I think Livy and I were just super interested because like we've read their work. We've been wanting to talk to them for some time. But you're welcome to join also, whatever flows. I was just super interested.
It's totally cool, but it's like you're already making so much headway. I mean, I should go somewhere else, kind of.
Okay.
There's other people. Yeah.
Yeah, this to be contacted list is like open, but I guess I'll finish. I only have one more, I think, and I'll wrap and finish, and then let others go. The only other one I wanted to update was Sherman. I talked to. We have a call set up next week to put her proposal in, and she is gonna present next Thursday. I'm looking down the list. Yeah, Livia and we can set a call with Disco, and I'm gonna touch back with Regen Network. Me and Jeff is really close to them, and I know somebody on their teams. We're pretty close to them. So otherwise, that's it for me. But the to be contacted list that isn't assigned is open. Jake.
Okay. Well, I don't have that list up right now, so I'm gonna have to do that. And then look. Otherwise, the other thing too is after my call today with Griff, and then probably maybe one more, I'm probably going to be really ready to like go after it. So, I mean, I can go look more at DAOs, or I can go look at hatchers. Just kind of like let the dog off the chain and let me go. So, what do you want to do? But that's where I'm at. I mean, I'll look at that spreadsheet again and pick a DAO, but I'd probably be better at like going after hatchers, to be honest with you.
Yeah, I mean, both works as long as I think as long as we all have something in our hands to be reaching out people. I really don't mind if it's a proposal or a hatcher at this point, because we can divide the work, and if you focus on hatchers, I focus on proposals, and it will be fine. As long as my only concern is to have this, to try to fill the gaps on this spreadsheet, so we can all make sure that we're not leaving people like behind, or people like away from big contact.
If we look at this spreadsheet, are there organizations that still need a point of contact from TEC?
Sorry, what was the question again?
I'm looking at the spreadsheet, and there's a section to be contacted. There seems to be some open spots for TEC contacts. For example, Neros wildcards. Are these, I don't know the back context or the context on these particular projects. Is there, are these projects ready for us to reach out to them? Are we ready to reach out to them? Is there any reason not to start reaching out to these projects is the real question.
I put wild cards on there. I definitely think they could be reached out to if Jake wants to do it. They're a pretty cool project, and they do hardware tax, and they really want other people to be able to use hardware taxes. So it would be, I'm sure that they could propose something around hardware tax design research, and yeah, they should be pretty accessible. So Jake, if you want to take them on, they're super cool and very aligned.
I pick Wildcard and Nervous. So we will see how it goes.
One other note, when we're talking to organizations, and probably you've already thought of this, but I'm just bringing it up, because Dan kind of brought it up this morning, is when we are talking to these groups and organizations, to also invite them to apply to the Trusted Seed, and that they may also become individual hatchers and donors aside from their organization, just to make sure that we also 2 for 1. And ask Dan if you need help. He's our Trusted Seed leader.
Oh yes, that actually came to mind. Chris, I don't know if we are going to ask them. He's got some ideas about this, and I just wanted to share with you guys that Jonas Safer, who is now working also, he shared with me, which I don't know. I could use an opinion. So basically, well, let me find him. Also, Eduardo, I found Jeff gave me the contact of Christoph. So I put it there. It says Griff is assigned to. But I don't know. I know we were talking about him before in another. So the contact is there. I can actually just guys let me know. Anyway, what I'm gonna mention is this. So basically, Jonas mentioned that the position Boson is at is not making a proposal, but they're looking to contribute maybe resources and help curate proposals in a way. So they're wondering like ways of, connecting as an institution, as an organization, as a member organization, let's say. And in that sense, probably some resources to check on that, maybe a steward to follow up with them. Jonas mentioned he already knows you, the guy.
Well, yes, Jonas reached me out and he explained me about. He gave me his email, so we can let me know if you reach him. If not, I will reach this guy out. No problem. Is there something else on the proposal that we need to talk?
One,
Just
one.
I was just going to say hatchers are also potential proposers, just like proposers are potential hatchers. And everyone I've talked to so far, we've asked them, oh yeah, what could you propose or something like that. Sorry, Livia, you can go. That's all I want to say.
Yeah, no, just something I thought it was going to be helpful today after I had this call was that if we have already kind of the scope of what we're looking for from each project, like Griff just said, oh, wildcards could propose this. Like maybe we can have a line of a suggestion besides each project, like, oh, this project could propose something related to this project something related to this, that it might not be what they are going to be proposing, but just to arrive prepared to the call, and then the conversation can go from there.
And I think of it as a lot of like discovery as well on these calls. Like this morning I talked to Leap DAO. They're building kind of another iteration or a scaling to conviction voting. So just asking them like, hey, where are you at? Do you need resources? Do you need funding? Like many of these projects have their own funding sources and streams. And also like asking them, you know, what are you building that could be like a TE public good, making sure that what they're building is back to open source. Maybe, I don't know, Eduardo, I don't know. I think everybody here is probably pretty comfortable, but does anyone have any, is everybody feeling comfortable when you talk to these groups, and it's pretty clear like what they'll be submitting for, or what are the main, maybe it's helpful to talk about like what are the main questions that we're getting? I think for me the question I'm getting the most is how much should I submit for? And you know, Griff had kind of said, well, go wild, because that's going to help us determine our minimum. So what I'm kind of telling them is like, hey, you know, that's totally up to you. Sky's the limit. We don't know what we're going to raise in the hatch. And of course, you know, when you actually submit the proposal to the DAO, like through the conviction voting DApp, then that will be the guidance ultimately, like the percentage and threshold that it will need to pass. But like right now we're just saying it's open, but that's the main question I'm getting. So I don't know if anybody else is getting any questions that you think will be helpful to address, or...
We have an FAQ document that would be cool if all the questions we put in there. It's in the doc. And also I thought about that, about like having, maybe we could add a disclaimer whenever we tell them like propose as much as you want, that later this proposal would have to be twitched a little bit to be submitted to the Commons, because I think it's not the best to have like a huge proposal. We should be incentivizing people to break it down into milestones and to propose each milestone at a time. But then now it becomes kind of conflicting with like, maybe people think that the proposal they have now is the one that will go to the Commons. And I think it's important to be clear that like the proposal you have now, it's a pre-proposal, and the one that will go to the Commons might need to have adjustments, might need to be broken down into multiple proposals.
I think we can. I think that's very relevant to transparency's sake, and I would add that to the proposal template itself also, like to the section of how much you're asking. I will put that there in the template so people are aware when they are, even if we tell them that or we forget to tell them, when they are filling the template, they will see this disclaimer of, hey, be aware of this, and hey, if you remember this is a pre-proposal and so on. If that worked for everyone, we can just add it to the template in the forum.
I love that idea, and Livia, I agree with you totally. And I've also feel like I've been like telling these people like, hey, like most of them, they're cool. They understand we have no idea how much we're gonna raise right now, so they're cool with it. But like, yeah, I think having that extra like communication is great. So I will add that to our list, Eduardo, of like things we're still working for him.
I think it's worth just mentioning that the way conviction voting works, it's easier to get a smaller proposal through than a bigger proposal. I mean, you know, we don't know exactly what the parameters are, but that's always true.
Right. If there is nothing else regarding the regarding the forum, Livy and Jessica, we talk about having this kind of sections in the proposals. I don't know if I missed on that, but do we have a call scheduled for working on these proposal sections? Do you want to do it individually? How do you want to tackle this?
I don't think we need a whole call. I think it will take like 10 minutes. I guess I don't remember. We categorized it, but I think it's just a matter of making the subcategories. So we just needed your help with that, and I can just give you like the titles that, and Livia and I think we're pretty much agreed on that. But Livia, do you think we need anything further there, or?
I created an issue for that. I think there's a SoftGov part that is just explaining each section, what it consists of, that it's going to be like a breakdown of how to submit a proposal in each one of the categories. And then yesterday we had a brief talk about this, about how to like really incentivize people to use the advice process. Perhaps we need one section just for proposals that are in an advice phase. So all of those people know that going there is to give feedback. And then Sam gave the idea that once the proposal is like, it has the feedback incorporated, we can just change the category on the top. And then it goes to either CV or forum or dandelion. So we would have like one first funnel that all the proposals go to. And then after they would switch categories. And we can test that. It might not work, but we're only going to know trying it out. So yeah, we can talk a little bit more about that later, but I explained in the issue I'll send to you guys.
Okay, we can take 30 minutes call to this together if you want. You can book it whenever you want, whenever you are available, and just let me know and I will be there. On that section, the next thing I wanna talk, it's a manifesto update. I made an update to the manifesto because I mean it was a little bit it was not updated. I will share I don't know how I share this. I will share the document. It's on the call, I think, but I will share it on the Discord channel. There are some things that probably will need to be changed at the end regarding basically the roadmap with the clear milestones, and I will probably ask Ham help with this at some point, just to update it and put it in the correct streamline, or probably after this call. But yeah, so if you guys want to take a look to it, it's a basic update to what it was. The main distinction in the document is to make clear that it's not a document, it's not an onboarding welcoming group for everyone, generic welcoming, because most of the confusion is that people come to this call thinking there's a call where we will explain them everything about the DEC, and that's a common mistake I have seen repeated constantly. So I just made it clear that this, at least for now, this is mainly focused for onboarding hatchers and proposals. But anyway, so if you guys take a look and want to have feedback about it, you're more than welcome to it, or to modify if you feel fit to it. And then the last topic is the mass outreach that you mentioned, Jessica. This is the last thing in the agenda for today.
Okay.
So
Go, Liz.
No, sorry, just quick on that first point, that I also created an issue for us to have some calls that are for like just onboarding people. So there's not this confusion here. And then in that call, and we can put in the calendar a specific title, so people that want to join something for onboarding, they go straight there.
Jessica?
I'm sorry, can you say that one more time? It cut, my internet's was cutting out. I was trying to refresh.
That we talked a little bit yesterday about creating a call just for people that are joining for the first time, so they have like a moment to for explanation, and then they don't confuse this call with like an onboarding call.
Oh, okay.
So we have like different titles in the calendar, so it's not confusing.
Welcome party. Yeah, that sounds great. Welcome party. I don't know to like, yeah. Did you have a particular question, or are you just talking about naming it?
No, you had something you wanted to say after for the second
Oh,
point.
yes, the mass onboarding. So yeah, I kind of said it earlier. So basically, yeah, the main thing is getting the CRM up and running, and a huge thanks to Dan and Craig, who's not here today, for taking that on. They said, you don't even have to worry about it. Thank you. So they're gonna set up the CRM so that, and figure out there's some legal tangles so that we can send emails and do campaigns and things. So right now, I guess the focus for onboarding comms is to get a few of these content pieces going, in addition to revisiting our kind of like messaging, one-liner, and high-level narrative. I had a call with Sem yesterday to kind of deep. I love reflecting off Sem because he reminds me like why we're here, and I think that's the main thing for all of us, is like it's so easy to get caught up in all this little things and like all this stuff and the GitHub and the, you know, and that's valuable, but like why are we really here? It's not because we want to do like all this admin work. It's because we want to build the tools for communities to be able to fund themselves and govern themselves to like locally solve all these huge problems for the world. Like, okay, how do we put that into messaging? It's a very hard story to tell, actually. It's not an easy narrative. I was a journalist for 10 years and told thousands of stories, and this is probably one of the most complex because, you know, there's so many wormholes. And basically, I was talking to Sam, like, it's like in the Matrix when he's in that hallway of doors. That's kind of like where we're at the center, and there's like all these wormholes. So anyway, working on the high-level narrative is important for the onboarding comms, but more so like having the infrastructure. So those are my main tasks for comms that affect onboarding. And I'm hoping to churn out a few pieces after the vote, and then working on one with Livia. And Jeff's gonna maybe have a look about this, how is the governance working? Because this is a really cool piece. And what else? Yeah, I think that's pretty much it. Just churn out some content pieces, and then hopefully next sprint or the sprint after, once the DAP is unblocked, we can start to do like these big communications out to the whole group. Like, hey, the target date is this. Here's what we need you to do. And we kind of separated out common stack communications and TEC communications. So I'll send that link to you, Eduardo, and if anybody has any ideas or questions, or maybe, you know, we can take some time next week in the comms to look at specifically, like, it's great to have a roadmap for comms overall, but maybe we need like the roadmap that's specifically for the onboarding as well, if that will be like helpful to organize. So maybe we do like a comms roadmap together with like specifically for onboarding, and then most of the work will come when the app is ready, but we can do some things to start and have some map to follow, I guess. Sorry, I went off a little bit.
Perfect.
I need more caffeine.
Perfect. Just whenever you need that work section to be done, just let me know, schedule it, and I will be there too. So this is all for the call today. I don't know if I missed something. So is there something else someone wants to talk about or mention before we say goodbye? Seems like not. See you later, and thank you so much for coming today. I hope you have a great day today.